Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. President Tinubu appoints Dr. Olubemisola Titilayo Odushote as first female DG of Nigerian Law School. Federal government inaugurates committee to train 1 million Nigerians in digital skills. And PDP leaders meet Jonathan, say former president pledged support for party. A very good day to you and welcome to First Nest News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Usoro. Now the news in detail. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of Dr. Olubemisola Titilayo Odushote as the Director General of the Nigerian Law School, marking a historic first for the institution. According to a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the appointment, which takes effect from January 10, 2026, is for a 4-year term. Odushote, aged 54, is the Deputy Director General and head of the Lagos campus of the law school. With her elevation, she becomes the first woman to lead the institution since its establishment in 1962. She will take over from Professor Issa Hayatu Chiroma, whose tenure expires on January 9, 2026, after 8 years of service. Announcing the appointment, the statement said the President approved the appointment of Dr. Olubemisola Titilayo as the Director General of the Nigerian Law School, adding that her emergence will mark a historic milestone for the institution. Away from that story, the federal government has inaugurated a joint implementation committee to oversee the training and certification of 1 million Nigerians in digital literacy and emerging technology skills. The committee was inaugurated in Abuja by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, represented by the Permanent Secretary, General Services Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Ibrahim Kana. Akume said the committee would also be responsible for planning and organizing a national digital literacy conference as part of a broader effort to deepen human capital development and support Nigerians' digital transformation agenda. He described the inauguration as a major step towards achieving the federal government's target of 95% digital literacy by 2030 and strengthening the national workforce readiness. Akume clarified that although the program aligns with federal policy direction and receives coordination support from government institutions, it is fully funded and implemented by Clergy Wealth Cooperative Society Limited. Away from that story, the federal government has assured students in tertiary institutions that the tax laws which took effect last week will not lead to a hike in tuition. This as the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, endorsed the new tax reform law and called off its proposed nationwide protest earlier scheduled for 14th January 2025 against the implementation of the law. Chairman, Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, Taiwo Oyedele, allayed the fears of students at an expanded National Executive Council (ENEC) meeting and stakeholders engagement forum organized by NANS in Abuja. He highlighted significant provisions of the tax law that would directly benefit the students and low-income earners in the country. He added that the law aims to make more money available to state governments for investment in the development of education and infrastructure in the country. Away from that story, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has debunked reports suggesting an increase in registration fees for the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) and Direct Entry Program. The cost will maintain unchanged in the best interest of candidates and parents. The examination body explained that fees for UTME and DE registrations have remained the same in the last 9 years, adding that there is no plan to introduce any hike ahead of the 2026 exercise. The clarification was made in JAMB's weekly bulletin released on Monday, January 5, 2026. The board noted that instead of increasing fees within the period under review, registration costs have actually been reduced, contrary to public speculation. JAMB said the clarification was meant to reassure parents, guidance and prospective candidates who may be worried about the financial demands of the coming examination year. It explained that its approach is in line with the directive of President Bola Tinubu passed through the Minister of Education, which requires government agencies to operate with policies that are people-friendly. It added that while it continues to maintain the credibility and standard of its examinations, it also considers the economic challenges facing Nigerian households. Moving on, the Inspector General Police Olokayode Egbetokun has ordered the deployment of Deputy Inspector General Police Mohammed Usaini Gumel and 17 commissioners of police to strategic departments, commands and formations across Nigeria. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer Abuja Chief Superintendent of Police Benjamin Hundeyi on the Nigerian Police Force's X handle. The deployments are intended to strengthen operational capacity, effective leadership, enhance public safety, and improve service delivery. Under the new arrangement, DIG Gumel will lead the Force Intelligence Department FID. CP Aina Adeshola is assigned to the Delta State Police Command and CP Umar Mohammed Hajedia to the Kebbi State Police Command, while CP Iyama Daniel Edobo to the Bayelsa State Police Command. Other notable deployments include CP Osaje John Angas Irabo, Anti-Human Trafficking Unit, FCID Annex, Lagos, CP Johnson Ayodeji Babalola, Special Inquiries Bureau, FCID Abuja, CP Ade Pegba K. Adetoye, Marine Unit Force, Headquarter Abuja, CP Adekpeba K. Adetoye, Marine Unit Force, Headquarter Abuja, and CP Tabitha Bako, Deputy Commandant, Police College, Kaduna. Some of them are CP Edwin Esiono Obegaha, Community Policing Force, Headquarter Abuja, CP Aripo Ofem Igbi, Investment Office, Department of Logistics and Supply Force, Headquarter Abuja, CP Cyril Uchena Obiozo, Maritime Command, Lagos, CP Samuel Yerima, Coordinator of Courses, Police Staff College, Jos, CP Ahaji Mohammed Danladi, X-Squad, FCID, Annex, Kaduna, and CP Richard Balagara, Inspectorate, Department of Training and Development, Force Headquarter YCP Lasisi A. Titilola, Railway Command, Lagos, CP Obwakpaka C. John, Safer Highway Department of Operations, Force Headquarter Abuja. Ebetokun charged the deployed officers to leverage their experience to provide result-oriented leadership, uphold professionalism, integrity, and ethical standards, and ensure strict adherence to the rule of law in the discharge of their duties. Moving on, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has reported 21 new confirmed cases and 5 deaths of Lassa fever in the last week of December. This was contained in the published Lassa fever situation report for week 51 in December. So far, 206 people have died from the disease, with the highest number of cases reported. Health authorities are warning that late presentation of cases has contributed to the rising death rate, urging citizens to maintain good hygiene, avoid contact with rodents, and seek medical attention promptly if symptoms appear. The NCDC said it will continue to deploy rapid response teams, train healthcare workers, and strengthen infection prevention measures across affected states. Away from that story, the National Working Committee, NEC of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Kabiru Turaki, is currently meeting with former President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja. The meeting is taking place at the former president's office in the Maitama area of the nation's capital. The agenda of the meeting was not disclosed, but according to the report, the discussion is linked to the leadership within the opposition party and the state of the nation. Speaking to newsmen after the meeting, Turaki said the visit was to introduce a new party leadership to Jonathan following the election at the National Convention held in Ibadan in November 2025. He described former President Jonathan's response as reassuring and very encouraging, noting that the former president expressed a deep sense of obligation to the party. The chairman maintained that despite current internal crisis, the PDP remains the most veritable platform for winning elections in Nigeria. Moving on, Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says no aspirant will withdraw from the African Democratic Congress ADC presidential race ahead of the 2027 elections. In a statement by his media advisor, Paul Ibe, Abubakar accused the All Progressive Congress APC of attempting to intimidate and weaken the opposition ahead of next year's elections. He said all qualified aspirants would present themselves freely when the party begins its election process. The former vice president spoke amid reports that he was under pressure to step down for a certain aspirant to emerge as the ADC's flag bearer. Abubakar said opposition leaders rallied around the ADC to build a credible national alternative to the ruling party, while stressing that the ADC remained committed to an open, transparent, and competitive process for selecting its flag bearer. We now move on to the foreign scene. The UK and France have signed a declaration of intent on deploying troops in Ukraine if a peace deal is made with Russia, UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has announced. After talks with Ukraine's allies in Paris, he said the UK and France would establish military hubs across Ukraine to deter future invasion, while French President Emmanuel Macron later said thousands of troops will be deployed. Allies also largely agreed robust security guarantees for Ukraine and proposed that the U.S. would take the lead in monitoring a truce, but the key issue of territory is still being discussed. Moscow has not yet commented on the announcement made in the French capital. Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, and Moscow currently controls about 20% of Ukrainian territory. Moving on. Meanwhile, Russia has deployed Navy assets to escort an oil tanker also being pursued by the U.S. forces across the Atlantic. The ship, which currently is not carrying anything, has transported Venezuelan crude oil and was thought to be between Scotland and Iceland. President Donald Trump said last month he was ordering a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela, a move the government described as theft. We now move on to sports. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will face Algeria in the quarterfinal of 2025 African Cup of Nations AFCON. The fixture was confirmed following Algeria's dramatic extra-time 1-0 victory over the Democratic Republic of Congo (DR) Congo in the second round. Adil Bobina scored a power driver late in extra time to clinch the victory for Desert Foxes in a match that had looked destined for a penalty shootout. Nigerian trashed Mozambique 4-0 in the second round tie on Monday. The quarterfinal match will be a clash between Eagles, the best attack in the competition with 12 goals, and Algeria, the best defense with just 1 goal conceded in 4 games. The two teams will face off on January 10 at Marrakesh Stadium in Marrakesh at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. That's all on the news this hour. I am Becky Osora from and the entire team in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.